Bangladesh's first female Prime Minister, a central figure in the country's politics for decades. Begum Khaleda Zia passed away at the age of 80 in Dhaka after battling months of liver and kidney problems. She was seen as a leading contender in next year's general election. Zia was treated for infections in her heart and lungs. She was also suffering from pneumonia. Khaleda Zia was born in 1945 in Jalpaiguri, West Bengal, then part of British India. Her family moved to Dinajpur, then East Bengal, now Bangladesh, after the partition in 1947. She was married at 15 to a young army officer, Zia-ur-Rahman, a man who rebelled against Pakistani forces during the 1971 Liberation War. He was assassinated in 1981. That's when Khaleda Zia broke through the power ranks and entered politics to lead his party, the BNP. Until then, Khaleda Zia had kept a low public profile. As Bangladesh's first woman Prime Minister, she served full 2 terms a decade apart, from 1991 to 1996 and 2001 to 2006, and was chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. She is also credited with the replacement of the country's presidential system with a parliamentary one. This via a referendum in 1991, bringing administrative power to rest with the Prime Minister. Interestingly, Zia was one of the 2 women to dominate Bangladeshi politics over the past 3 decades. The other is Awami League boss Sheikh Hasina, now in exile in India after her ouster in August 2024. But both differed in their approach to foreign policy, specifically when it came to the India question. In fact, Indian Prime Minister Modi took to X to pay his condolences, recalling his warm meeting with Khaleda Zia in 2015. Unlike Sheikh Hasina, Begum Khaleda Zia maintained a cautious approach towards India, underscoring Bangladeshi sovereignty. Case in point was her sustained opposition to overland transit and connectivity links with India's northeastern states. She also argued Indian trucks' toll-free use of Bangladeshi roads. She compared it to slavery. The 1972 Indo-Bangladesh Friendship Treaty was heavily criticized by Zia as well. This despite being strategically important from a military perspective. Begum Zia had argued that the treaty had shackled Bangladesh. In fact, she linked transit permits to unresolved security and water concerns, a stance seen as converting demands for regional integration to limit Indian influence in Bangladesh. There was also criticism of India's Farakka barrage that has been operational since 1975 to divert water from the Ganges into the Hooghly. Zia had argued that the barrage deprived Bangladesh of Ganges water. And in 2007, she accused India of having deliberately opened sluice gates to worsen floods in her country. The confrontational stance extended beyond transit and infrastructure. In fact, in 2002, she actively pursued defense deals with China while snubbing India. A deal signed that year made Beijing Dhaka's primary supplier for tanks, frigates, and other military equipment. The narrative again was to guard against Indian overreach. But her anti-India stance was not without pragmatic considerations. The 1992 Teen Bigha corridor lease signed during her tenure is an example. The only corridor that gives access to Dhaka to Dahagram, Angarpota, an enclave inside Indian territory. Zia's pragmatism was also evident in 2006 when she visited India as Prime Minister. She signed a revised trade agreement and a new anti-drug smuggling accord with India. However, Zia's relationship with India evolved post-2012. This after a visit to Delhi to meet then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. What grabbed the headlines during that visit was a pledge that future BNP governments would act against terrorist groups operating from Bangladeshi soil to attack Indian targets. It was a visit at India's invitation and was seen as a strategic pivot in BNP policies prior to 2014. Interestingly, that outreach extended to meetings with Prime Minister Narendra Modi post-2014. In fact, Prime Minister Modi met Zia in Dhaka in June 2015 during his visit to Bangladesh too. That was an unusual meeting, not just because Zia was then leader of the opposition, but also because it underlined the BNP's intent. one that meant to engage with Delhi to broaden ties with Dhaka beyond Sheikh Hasina. Not surprising why the Indian Prime Minister has underscored Begum Khaleda Zia's contributions in shaping the development of Bangladesh and the India-Bangladesh relations. She is survived by her eldest son Tarique Rahman, who, remember, returned from a 17-year exile in London this month. Rahman is widely regarded as the likely successor to lead the BNP.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.